Hey YouTube, this is Practice Prepper, and today I want to talk just a little bit about the economic collapse of 2017, speculative, and how that relates to the new president, Donald Trump. I know I said I didn't want to go on and on about Trump. I think a lot of people are, Trump, Trump, Trump. But, he's also going to be the new president, and the dude's going to come up now and then because he's going to impact a lot of parts of our lives. So it's going to come up. But before I do that, I wanted to go over just very briefly, because I had some questions about it, this rig that I have on that allows me to move the camera around while I have my hands free. And I have a second camera for it right here. It's called a Snorri Cam, I believe. I built it myself. I'm a cinematographer, so I have a lot of photography and video gear. I put this together for an ed video that I did somewhere where they wanted the camera mounted people as they walked around their campus. Just aluminum extrusion strapped on here and here. Lets me kind of walk around and do what I want. Okay, yeah, it's a little weird looking. I'll give you that, but it's kind of cool, and I get to be hands-free. It's a little suggestive, maybe, but hey, we can all be adults here, right? So let's just get over it, and let's talk a little bit about the economic collapse of 2017 and Donald Trump. There's been a lot of discussion about the idea of the second half of the 2008 financial crisis befalling us at some point. Just the idea that the can was kind of kicked down the road at that point. Things that maybe should have happened or should have been allowed to happen didn't happen. And there were benefits from that. It made people's lives a lot nicer for the past, decade or so. But a lot of people feel like the can was kicked down the road, and a lot of people feel that the more times that can gets kicked down the road, the worse, the wall, the harder the impact is going to be with the wall ultimately. So there's been a lot of thought about the idea that there is a second half to the 2008 financial crisis, and that we're waiting for that. And there's also a lot of talk about how the establishment, whatever that might be, is kind of anti-Trump because we don't need to go on about that. There's a lot about him that doesn't necessarily stay within a box. On that, there is a lot of chatter on the internet, and I knew that this was going to happen. Were Trump to get elected, there would be people that would immediately say, well, the fact that he got elected means that he must actually be a covert dark horse part of the system to trick us, and who knows about that. Everyone's he's an outsider, and then he wins, and you already hear people saying, oh, he's waffling and he's compromising, and he's he was a plant by this or that, and I'm not going to comment on all that, but let's go under the presumption that he is an outsider, which I think is sort of the popular view. Not that the popular view is necessarily ever the correct view, but let's go with that for the moment. And that the establishment is somewhat dissatisfied with him. Now, if you have this financial crisis that is being kicked down the road, that's waiting to have its second half, and a lot of people were saying to avoid blame, the powers that be would generate this war, and that would provide a distraction or something to point to blame for the shit hitting the fan economically. Now there's another scapegoat potentially, which is Donald Trump, and what I'm wondering about is the potential that this opportunity will be taken. If you believe that there is a second half to the financial crisis, and you believe that a can is being kicked down the road, and you believe that the longer things go on, the worse it's going to be, and you're of the powers that be, and you've been kicking it down the road, kind of to just save your own skin because you don't want to be the one that gets their head chopped off for it, But you also know that kicking the can down the road is, it's going to make things worse. There's almost a moral imperative to, have people take their medicine and have that second half occur, let the bottom drop out. And if the disincentive of doing that, which is that they would receive the blame, in 2017 will be taken away, because it can very easily be thrown onto Trump and say, he came in and then poof, everything went to shit. I wonder if that makes it extra likely, just with cards lining up, that the second half of the 2008 thing does happen shortly after Trump takes office. Not because of him, but because of the opportunity to blame him for it. Now, you shouldn't take this video as being an endorsement by me of Trump's policies. I think a lot of them are very dubious and questionable at absolute best. I did not vote for him. But I've got a wait and see attitude on the whole thing. What I'm specifically just wondering is whether or not his presidency will be used as an opportunity to get some things through the system that have been kind of pent up and waiting to get through the system. I feel that that's fair. I feel it's fairly likely. A lot of the cards are lining up, making things more and more difficult to keep this house of cards together. A lot of card metaphors here, sorry. And then on top of that, you have this great distraction in the new President Trump to let it kind of happen. And again, there's sort of a moral imperative to get it done as quickly as possible, because the longer you kick it down the road, the worse it's going to be. So it's very easy for someone to justify in their head that, this is the thing we got to do. It'll be better if we do it sooner, and I can avoid the blame by, having it be pinned on somebody else, which I'm not too crazy about. So again, we don't know what's going to happen. I don't like YouTube channels where people say, on January 21st, 2017, the dollar's going to collapse or whatever. So many of those go by, and they never do, obviously. So this is just, I think, a heightened risk, because there are more incentives lining up to remove the impediments of it happening. So I think in the next couple months, heading up to the inauguration, I don't think that the day after Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated, that the whole system's going to collapse. That would be kind of ridiculous timing. I just think that once he gets in, one of those little blocks is out of the way to maybe let it through. So I think over the next couple months, think about your situation if there is a financial collapse. In what ways are you ready for that? In what ways are you not ready for that? I know that as preppers, we think about lots of different things. Myself personally, I'm mostly concerned with the aliens coming in and dropping the zombies infected by H5N1 bird flu. I think that's really top on the prepping list. But, economics is there too. And how are you prepared for that? How are you not prepared for that? Give that some thought. Have you thought about investing in metals? Do you think that it's stupid? Give it some thought, because I think that going forward, economic collapse post-Trump inauguration, again, not because of Trump's policies necessarily, but because of the availability of him as a scapegoat, I think it's at a heightened level of risk. So that's my feeling on it. What do you think? Politely in the comments below, share your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Everyone loves to hear them. I love my viewers' thoughts. They get my brain churning a lot of times, and I'm sure they're helpful to all the other viewers too. So what are your thoughts on it? How are you prepared? How are you unprepared? Where are your holes? Give it some thought over the next couple months. Get yourself ready. Hopefully we can kick the can down the road further and make it worse in the future. I don't know. Is that what I should be wishing? I don't know. Yeah. Well, those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching.